To me, that's what ceremony is in a lot of way, is naming, acknowledging, just acknowledging, simply, so fucking simply, just acknowledging our relations. It's like these opportunities to orient ourselves and each other within the context of the web of it all.
We're Joan and Jamie, two humans in bodies who take care of bodies for a living.
We created this podcast as practical medicine for bodies living through this disembodied time.
We want to invite you to come sit with us and experience the beautiful, loving, complex person that is your body.
Hello. Hi, Joan.
Hi, Jamie. It's good to naturally start a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's...
Nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened. This is definitely not our second try for this episode. No way.
No. We don't have any
everything's going
internet
perfectly.
Demons. It's good. Hey, well, I'm going to dive in, though, because we have a special guest. So, Jamie, what do you want to share about how you've been experiencing your anatomy this week?
Well, I shared a little bit already in the memo-sode last week about how I had my first psilocybin journey in 2 years. And I shared a bit in that conversation about the experience itself. But in the aftermath of that journey, there's two notable ways that I've been experiencing my anatomy. The first one is just the really practical, straightforward muscle tension, stiffness, soreness. These experiences are quite taxing on the body. It's one of the reasons why I really love sober sitting for people when they have their full dose psilocybin journeys, is because, and this is the way I explain it to people, is that when you take a full dose of psilocybin, what's actually really going on is that your body is sitting for your consciousness so that your consciousness can zip around and do all the things that it's doing. So your body is actually sitting for your consciousness, and I am actually sitting for your body. So I am here to care for your body. So when I sit for people, the containers that I hold includes body work the next day, like a lot of fascial work and just a lot of tending. And also I will cook for people and re-nourish their bodies in specific ways as they're coming down from their experience. So anyway, all that to say, I felt sore, in all the ways I kind of expected to feel. Ty gave me a massage last night and worked a lot of that tension out. And so I was actually quite tired today. Like it kind of felt like him working on my body last night was almost like part 2 of the journey. Like my body did a great job sitting for my consciousness, and then Ty, sat for my body. I don't know how you want to say it, but like really tended to my body very well last night. So I've been feeling a lot of that. And the other thing that I've noticed in the aftermath of that journey is a very tangible experience of expansion of capacity. So like I was sharing before we started recording, I did like a 5-mile run essentially. And I didn't run the entire time, but definitely had greater capacity to run faster and longer and like more consistently than I have known myself to have. Or even areas of like, I had to be on the phone with multiple like Washington state government agencies on, a couple of days ago to figure out like tax stuff and payroll stuff. And I just like wasn't that bothered by it. I was like, this is just the thing I'm doing today. Or yesterday morning, Ty and I started our day with like a cold plunge sea swim, and all the same things are like flooding my brain about like, oh my God, this is going to be so cold. It was like windy and rainy and chilly. I was like, this is going to be cold. But as I started walking into the water, I didn't have the same like somatic response of like, close, seize up, no, I don't want this. It was just like, this is going to be cold and this is what we're doing. And so that's been really, really notable, especially when I consider that the primary theme of my journey a few days ago was this theme of like putting intention towards expanding my capacity for resilience. So yeah, that's just the both and of like, I feel myself having much greater capacity. And I'm also feeling a lot of the standard sensations of like, whew, I'm tired. I just did a big thing, and all the ways that that's being held specifically in like my neck and shoulders. So that's my experience of my anatomy.
It's interesting how often there is that both end. Like there is, like, I guess sometimes you call it like the physical cost of an experience, but cost kind of seems, I don't know, cost seems negative or transactional. It's not necessarily that, but just impact of going through a big thing. And an impact can happen in multiple directions. And we get to just decide if we assign good or bad to that, or if we just simply observe and notice what we like and don't like about it. So
yeah,
that's really cool.
That part. Yep. Yeah. What about you, Joan? Have you been experiencing your anatomy?
Ooh. Well, one way I've been experiencing my anatomy, like quite a bit recently, has been within a therapy container. I've been doing a version of internal family systems therapy. And actually I've been doing it like recorded for my other podcast.
Cool. Wow.
With a friend of mine who's also a physician who is like training in IFS. And we've just sort of been organically been like, how many sessions do we want to do of this thing? And following the thread of what's discovered. So doing a lot of like crying on camera, like, you know, and not even really thinking about the fact that the camera's there, including this morning. And, the cool thing that's been emerging, what I like about IFS is like thinking of your different tendencies and different emotional reactions as parts of you. I really find that a lovely way of thinking of myself versus I am one being and I am mad or I am sad, when usually it is like part of me is mad, part of me is sad, part of me is fine. Like it's somatically speaking, that's also kind of true. Like my hair's never that bothered by the rest of me. So like,
yes.
It's more like anatomically true too, you know? And there's been this one part that we're kind of like discovering together. And it's a part that was like very wounded about being laughed at in school when she didn't know the answer to something.
Oh,
and, you know, physician type A, like high identity stakes of like, I'm the smart one, I'm the brainer. And so then that was quite
oldest daughter
tender,
as well.
Eldest, exactly, like all the things. And so I've really got to like hang out with that part this week. It feels like she kind of lives in my chest. And we've been like writing, we've been writing poetry through the vehicle of rewriting lyrics to a song together this week.
Cool.
And it's been just the most like delicious, like writing poetry where you're trying to actually match rhyme and rhythm and match that is like, it's actually kind of a fun puzzle as well as a creative exercise. And it's been really like generative and like sparky. And then I've been like singing the song and oh yeah, that doesn't quite fit. Or, you know, it's just been this really cool thing that I feel like I'm doing with this other part of myself. So it feels also very like collaborative.
Yeah.
Though it's all technically just me, you could say. And so somatically, it feels like I'm drawing on more parts of myself, while usually this kind of exercise I might more think of as like just cognitive, like just up in my brain, but it feels very like I get a hit of a yes if I've gotten a lyric that I like, and I'm not just checking with my mind, I'm checking with my body. So,
oh, that's so sweet.
That's been a very neat, tender, and fun experience. And I'm just letting that thread follow through and see how far it takes me.
Yeah, that feels kind of congruent with, or like a continuation of what you shared recently about communing with your time capsule self, like your teenage, like when we're 13, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been spending a lot of time with like teenage teenage Joan lately.
Yes. Doing this version is grade 4, which is like, I don't know, 9 or something. So I just am doing like a lot of like time traveling, but in a way that actually I feel like is anchoring me more in the present. So
Beautiful.
that's a welcome change from like the usual time travel of anxiety fueled perseveration.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah. No, I have no idea
So,
what you're talking
I'll
about.
take it.
I have no clue. I've never heard of her.
Not
What are
relatable.
you talking about? Beautiful. Well, we have a third person here in the proverbial room with us that we get the beautiful honor and gift of asking this question to. Joan, would you like to introduce our guest this week and then ask her a question? The question.
Yes, I would love to. So we have on the podcast with us the most wonderful, personally, a birthday twin of mine, which we discovered, like same day, same year, Mousebird. And so what I want to say about Mousebird is that I knew about you, Mouse, before I met you. And actually, everyone on this podcast, if you've listened to multiple episodes, will have met you through Jamie because you come up a lot.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Mouse is
and
my
the first time I was
friend.
like, Mouse.
So
Yeah, like and you have a memorable name, so I'd always be like, who's this mouse friend? What a cool, what's going on? Like, I'm so intrigued. I didn't know your gender at first because Mouse is like, who knows?
Could
And
be.
which love.
Yeah. I know a man named Possum.
and then
so who knows?
you do.
Yeah.
That's
I live in
great.
Bellingham,
Let's
Joan.
go.
Of course I know a man named Possum.
Everyone is named for animals. Let's do it. Yes, please. And then I got the pleasure of meeting you, still never in person yet, someday, but through this beautiful technology thing within Jamie's coaching course container, The Refuge, and heard you speak about ritual and ceremony in this like absolutely like astonishing, beautiful, striking manner. And I think actually even before I heard you speak about it, Jamie, in some conversation, I can't remember if it was recorded or not, you had mentioned like how you learned a lot about ceremony and ritual from Mouse. And you said the phrase like, make ceremony of this. And I don't even remember the context, but I immediately like wrote it down. And it's like literally I have on my phone all of these little mantra reminders, and like I won't show you, but like it comes up once a day to remind me to make ceremony of this.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Life.
Wow.
And so I was like, I just need to hear more. Like that one wonderful session with The Refuge was so beautiful. And especially because this season is about pleasure. And sometimes when we think about ceremony, maybe we're more thinking about sort of somber promise type rituals. Some of them have pleasure components built in, some not. But like, what is the importance or role of ritual and ceremony in experiences of pleasure, and the role of pleasure in ceremony? Like, it just to me felt such like a rich frame that I wanted to certainly hear actually both of your takes and experiences with. So that's my long-winded introduction of you, Mouse. So I would love for you to share whatever you want to share to say hi to the audience. And one of the things I'd love if you shared is how you've been experiencing your anatomy this week.
Best person on the planet to ask this question to. I'm so excited to find out what
really
she
want
says.
to answer.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Been waiting all week for that.
Oh, jeez. Oh, this is so sweet. This is so great. I loved hearing all of that. Jamie, you're my best friend. That's so sweet. I'm so happy to be here having this conversation. I feel super honored and excited and nervous. And, I'm just going to go dive right into the question because I feel like it'll give a lot of context for my life.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
So I have been experiencing my anatomy with a lot of pain Yeah, pain. And I've been exploring pleasure. And I'm in this contemplation around pain and pleasure, how they are intricately intertwined. You know, I'm going through a process right now in my business. In fact, today I wrote the email template to the clients I have booked with me in bodywork to let them know that I will no longer be offering them bodywork. I'm closing my doors on the bodywork I've been offering for 17 years.
Wow.
And that has a lot to do with how I'm experiencing my anatomy.
Totally.
It's fascinating because last week, a few days ago, 5 days ago, when I first said out loud this, maybe the very last time that we see each other in this way, and it was sort of a spontaneous, like 2 days before that or something, it was like, I'm quitting massage.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was what was happening, but that's what's happening as I'm transitioning into a more broader scope of holistic, ritualistic, ceremony-based healing.
Yes.
Where I'm no longer doing anything for anyone. I am no longer doing anything for anyone. And the first time that I mentioned that out loud, my neck adjusted and I could feel like flowing energy in my spine. And I've been this past year and a half ago, I experienced 6 weeks of headache every day, followed by a 9-day migraine event, followed by closing of the business, followed by all sorts of depression, pain, all sorts of things. And so going on this long journey this year in my spine, and this week I've been oscillating between the perfection of my spine, my shoulders, resting over my heart. My sternum is like upright and erect, you know, for a moment. And I'm like, whoa, that's what that's like. Whoa. And then sort of back into this sort of like crunchy, tweaked out, painful, kind of stuck, kind of like holding on to this like dead limb that's just full of pain. So I feel like I'm in a process of like, pendulation right now, but it's like the frequency is getting closer and closer together, and I haven't been able to access that free flow state for like years. And so,
Oh my God. So you're like literally right now, like you're going through a transition state. And one of the, a beautiful time that we often have for like ceremony and ritual is when someone is transitioning from one thing to another. So
Correct.
it just sort of, we didn't plan this. We weren't like, oh, she's planning on quitting
Not with our
massage. Let's
brains.
talk
We
to
didn't,
her.
but our bodies
Not with our
somehow
brains.
knew.
Not with our
Yep.
brains. Hello.
hello.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so now that means I have 2 questions.
Great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll ask the more pressing question first, which is, so as you're doing this, how are you using sort of what you've learned about like ceremony and ritual to guide you through this time? Like including like specific, if you have specific rituals that are like, I know I need these right now, or what's been going on there?
Yeah, that's a good question, because that's super fucking important, because it's so disorienting without it. It's like so fucking lonely and strange and invisible, and it takes a lot of effort to fucking explain and describe and you know, and so there's many layers to the ritual. And like as I go through this process, I have to surrender, and in order to surrender, I need containment. And
Fuck yes.
so, Jamie, I want to create a ceremonial space with you that's sort of connected to surrender. We talked a little bit about that. Jamie and I are navigating conversations around merging our families, essentially. My partner and me and her partner and her partner's children. And there's a lot of talk about ceremony, and we've engaged in ceremony as we're choosing to initiate into this container, this transformative container that will ignite our evolutionary process, basically.
Yeah.
But as I'm going through this transition, I've done different rituals of movement. Movement is such a huge and important process, and because I know that this is deeply challenging for myself, for my body, for the people that I've been in relationship with for 17 years around giving touch, and that the impact of my making this decision is shifting the matrix.
Yes.
It's been carrying me on this huge flow of energy. I have devoted my focus, my being, my body, my energy, my survival, my identity, my, everything into this. And so I recognize the profundity of it. And at this point, if I don't create the multiply nested layers of acknowledgement,
Yes.
just acknowledging that so simply, and letting people, letting myself, letting my partner, letting my friends, letting my community, letting my clients know, and just so that we all have a space of orientation, that it's not tended to in a way of sort of fragmented, disparate, sort of, it's happening, but nobody really knows or understands what's happening, right?
Yeah, that language of containment and orientation, like it feels like when I hear you share this about this transition, to transition is to transform, it is to metamorph, essentially. It's to go through a process of completely transforming, changing like the material that you're made of, and becoming new material. And that is, like you just said, it is obviously anytime any of us are going through a transitional moment in life, it is, whether we acknowledge it or not, it is sending ripples through the web. Because the way in which we have been known and the way in which people have contextualized themselves by orienting themselves to us, that's changing. So then their experience is changing. And to not acknowledge that through containment, which then allows orientation and and reference point and connection and honesty inside of that, to not acknowledge that and not create ceremony and containment around it is like cosplaying as if nothing's happening. And that's so disorienting. That's so disorienting to a body. It's like asking bodies to lie. So of course that's disorienting.
It's terrifying.
But it's like a lot of what normative culture is doing. And I think some of this is just simply because we have deeply and profoundly lost touch with these ancient innate ways of organizing ourselves around ritual and ceremony and having intention and moving slow enough to have intention. And we don't know who our elders are. We don't know who our teachers are. We don't know who our guides are. Like, to just give a little bit of practical context here, like when Mouse told me those 5 days ago, shortly prior to her that coming out of her mouth to that first client, we were on a walk and she told me that she's like, I'm quitting massage. And I just remember like we were walking and I like stopped and I turned and I grabbed her by the shoulders and I was like, Mouse, Bellingham does not need another massage therapist. It needs whatever the fuck you are. Like it needs like someone who has this depth of awareness and passion and prioritization around creating human ceremony, because human ceremony is the most ancient and innate and unfortunately quite forgotten thing that humans have ever done. And we are so disoriented in our bodies and in our communities and in our culture without it. We're so fucking disoriented. And we need people like Mouse who are like, oh, wait, no, I got you. This matters to me. And I'm willing to embody it, model it, and also to begin to teach it and facilitate it.
Yes.
Long pause. Yes.
I was like, what is Mouse's
also,
response?
just to say too, just to contextualize as well in the material, the merging of our families, because I'm like, I don't know if everyone will know what that means. We know what that means. We're all planning on buying a house together, is what we're doing, among other things. Like for months, we've been in conversation about all living together. And at first it was like, the thing top of mind, sort of quote unquote obvious to all of us, because it's the thing we're all already doing, is like renting. And then this theme of like stewardship and like owning our own land and our own property and our own home and utilizing it as like a hub for the community just kind of like crept into our ceremonies. We started holding intentional ceremony around this and calling things in and co-creating this vision together. And in doing that, this idea of like, wait a minute, what if we bought a house together started creeping in? So that's the path we're on now. We're in conversations with like real estate lawyers and people who know more than we do about creating co-buying contracts. And so that's what that means. I just wanted to give that context. I'm really, really, really excited about it. Really excited about it, especially as I enter into this, I'm edging up against this personal transition of moving into motherhood. In some of our co-created conversations around this, like merging our families together, what ended up emerging for me, and Mouse, you can speak to this if you want to, but I don't want to like describe your experience for you. But what ended up emerging for me is like, oh my God, wait, I don't want to do this without living with my friend and her partner. Like I want to have a baby in that context. I don't actually want to have a baby in a nuclear family context because I don't want to. I actually want to do this more. So this, me being in like a life moment of transition in that regard too, like this merging of our families feels like that kind of containment for me as well. So
Yeah, I absolutely concur. It's like concentric circles of support. We have the intimacy within ourselves. We're in relationship within ourselves with all of our parts. So you were talking about your parts. Joan, you got parts and I got parts. And then all our parts and ourselves and the both and, is in relationship with our most intimate ones, right? My partner, your partners, right? And then the other layers of support around that, and the notion of, bringing a child through with only two little pillars of support is like, talk about disorienting when our little baby bodies, when our baby bodies know that there's a whole world. There is earth, there is water, there is animals, there is wind, there is friendship, there is all these different layers of support. And so if we're not like, to me, that's what ceremony is in a lot of ways, is naming, acknowledging, just acknowledging simply, fucking simply, just acknowledging our relations. It's like these opportunities to orient ourselves and each other within the context of the web of it all, right?
Yes.
And so we become, it's like in these moments and all the time, it's like we reframe the center of the universe a little bit. Like when these changes happen, when these fissures, when these ruptures, when these diversions, when these deaths, transitions, losses, whatever, when they happen, it creates fissures. It creates sort of maybe fraying in the web, maybe one could say. And so it's like the role of ceremony is to be able to name that, to be able to see that, to be able to articulate that, to be able to hold that with honor.
Yeah.
And to lay to rest to lay to rest the thing that is dead, is dying, is no longer, and not to create further separation through the tension that is caused by trying to hold on to something that is dying or that is dead or
That's
that,
right.
Right? I think we, in this modern colonial capitalistic culture, it's like we believe in the church of separation, isolation, independence, and to disclude our web of relations is like cutting ourselves off at the core. To think that my life, what's happening in my life, even in my internal system, is not having an impact on every single person life that I come across with is it's just not true.
Yeah. I just love the way you're speaking of it. And I'm really reminded of a time when I was coming back from my first maternity leave. And I didn't know anything about anything, and very steeped in all of the structures and things, and not very embodied, I would say. But the one thing that I knew was I needed to at least like say to myself, transitions are hard. Like that was like one of my like really life affirming phrases. Because the story I'd been given and then taken on and repeated to myself, and my mantra before was like, it's up to me, and it's not supposed to be hard. You're supposed to be good at everything, like kind of those other stories. So simply at least orienting to myself the fact that this isn't a flaw. Transitions are hard. And like, I think for the first time in real time being like, this is a transition. And like, returning to work, still pumping, like infant and daycare, like all that stuff, like, yeah, it slaps you in the face. But I still see people where it's like, why can't I do it all? Why can't I keep it together? And so for me, like a tiny step and nudge towards saying telling the truth. And like, I wrote down, like, at least name it. Like, that's its own practice.
Yeah. That's what you did when you were naming it to yourself. You were saying to yourself, transitions are hard. Like, that's its own ceremony. That's its own ritual.
Yes. Yeah. And it was definitely like a rope, or, like it was one of my totems that held me through that time, where otherwise it's like a fire hose in every direction. And you're like, like it was just body, mind, and spirit, question marks in all and every way. And so it's just like, if nothing else, I'm not gonna tell myself the lie that I'm supposed to be crushing this. Like, no, this is simply a challenging time. So I wanted to share that. And then I was curious, Mouse, like, when did sort of the word ceremony and ritual become more clearly your path? Like, is this like from the day you were born, you're like, yeah, obviously I'm always gonna do this? Or, how did this kind of start to become your thing?
That is a fun question.
I love origin stories.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, of course it started when I was born. It started before I was born. It started, way back at the beginning of ceremony.
Yeah.
I'm just remembering, I think it's like I'm just remembering, and I get really excited about that. I get really excited about bringing forward remembrances, basically helping us just to remember our innate humanity. I've done body work for a while. 17 years I've been practicing touch, and so that in and of itself is I began to regard as sacred space, as a practice that invokes and touches multiple dimensions of our being, and a place in which energy is exchanged, and there's things that play in the invisible world that I don't understand. That I just don't understand. And there's things going on here that are affecting me in really beautiful ways, and there's things that are going on here that are affecting me in ways that are not so beautiful. And so I really, wanted guidance. I was seeking mentorship to be able to learn how to create containment within myself and within my practice to be able to engage, in a way where I could be in sovereignty and autonomy and connecting to energies that are going to be of service to the benefit of all the web of life, and not, yeah, it gets pretty sticky when we start to relate with each other and we start to relate with
A little bit.
with our
Yeah.
what's going on? Your parts, my parts? Who are those parts? What?
Yeah.
So I think body work, was a huge sort of, it was like a need, right? It was like, I'm not going to be able to do this if I don't, and it took me a long fucking time. It took me a long time to find anything in it. And it was like, I didn't even know how to seek, or I didn't even know what I was really looking for. But then sort of eventually, inevitably, I would say I really started getting into ceremony and ritual, I would say about 5 years ago. I had a friend who had been recently diagnosed, or they hadn't been diagnosed at this point, but they were experiencing a major illness and like really extreme state change in their ability to be in their body, navigate the world, mother, partner, work. And she actually had to give over parental, like she couldn't function as a parent. And she closed her business. She closed her practice after 15 years in practice because she all of a sudden had no capacity. And so this was going on for a while. This was sort of happening, and I wasn't that close to her at the time, but my partner was close to her. And so she invited a ceremony in the context of the ones in her close circle to be able to tell her story and to be able to hold her. And so that was like, among my first experiences of receiving the impact of the power of that. And so she gathered us all around and she shared her story, and she shared it in a way of these ritual acts of ascribing objects as what she had to let go of, what she was forced to let go of. Like when we think about surrender, it's like sometimes we get to like choose that, and like a lot of times when we don't choose that, we are forced to choose that.
Absolutely.
And maybe it's that, and maybe it's not, and maybe it's both, and but sometimes life asks us to let go and to stop, and we do, and so it was a really, really powerful experience where she exposed herself. She exposed herself within the context of a sacred container, calling upon the elements, calling upon the spirits, calling upon the ancestors, calling upon all of our relations to please hold. And she went through a really authentic process of grieving and letting us bear witness to that, and letting us mirror that and reflect that and relate to that. And it was just so deeply impactful. And this woman is also now a best friend of mine. Yeah, so I would say it sort of began there, but then also learning from her, seeing the extreme state in which we can be brought to in this human experience, and relating deeply to it, being like, oh my God, you feel that crazy? You feel that terrible? Oh my God, you feel like you're going insane? Oh my God, and like you can't keep it together, and you like you're being so humbled. Oh my God, from receiving that modeling when I came into an experience where I was completely blown apart. My dad fell and broke his neck. My partner and I of 4 years separated in a really not a pretty way. I experienced I would say like a spiritual miscarriage, where I had the experience of receiving a baby in my auric field for the first time ever, and then watching that life die. I ended the relationship with my mother, an extremely codependent relationship with my mother, and I went into like full like attachment wound hell.
Yeah.
like all of those attachments flailing in pain, activated, and so it was time for ceremony. I was like, this is that moment. Hopefully it would be like, but this is what it is. This is what's happening. So this is that moment.
What I'm hearing in how what you're sharing and how you're sharing it is like kind of the profundity of this friend introducing you to the option in the human experience to have what we might call or understand to be like tragic things occur, and the option to not withdraw and isolate in response, and instead the option to actually like reach forward and invite connection and invite relating and invite further and deeper belonging. And this woman making that decision for herself and modeling that for you, but for the whole community, planted something in you so that when you inevitably in your human experience we're all running parallel lines to each other. And, if you haven't had someone close to you die yet, just wait. If you haven't had a significant injury yet, just wait. Like it'll come. And having that seed planted of the option to, again, open up and invite connection and receive relating and be witnessed and be held by the web, by the community in response to like the, total destabilization of, these multiple converging things happening in your life all at once. I just, speaking my experience, like learning from you by way of relationship over the last year and a half, that when like I knew Crowley was dying, there was no question in my mind about whether or not I was going to create ceremony around it. No question. And that's so normal to me now. But even as recent as, 2 years ago, if my cat had died, my understanding of like the menu of options of how to function in that experience, both like the practicalities of what to do, but then also like how to hold myself and ask to be held, would have been fundamentally different because I had no reference point. I had no seed planted. So again, these like ripples of that woman, did that, planted a seed in you, then you move in the way you move, because how you and I technically met is through Ty, through my partner, coming to being invited to participate in the ceremony that you created for yourself with this former partner of yours, to have the community bear witness to, okay, this is no longer a partnership. It's transforming into something else. And again, we're not going to pretend like it's not happening. We're not going to sweep this under the rug. We're not going to pretend like nobody knows. We want this to be seen and witnessed. And so like this like this thread of these seeds being planted of like, hey, this is possible. This is possible of a way of being. And that's just stunning. It's just striking me in this moment, like how stunning that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Truly. Yeah. I mean, I owe our friendship to ceremony, that ceremony.
Yeah. I'm really struck by, because the kinds of places I encountered ceremony growing up were like purely in the religious context.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see if that's true. I guess there are some types of traditions and ceremonies related to like holidays that are more cultural, national culture.
Yeah, I was going to say like political,
subculture.
for lack of a better word, sort of ceremonies around culture.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which were often more like commemorating like a thing that happened in the past. And often I mean, I don't know if they can't move, they're just traditions. Cause like when I think about ceremony that has mattered in my life, like I think about like being baptized. And at the time that I was like baptized into the evangelical Christian faith, like that was a choice and a meaningful, and it felt like quite a sacred thing I went through. And then there was a sacred set of acts that like happened around that. And how, then leaving that religion and knowing that wasn't correct for me, certainly sort of just out in yes, the current version of society, we're so missing this sort of thing. And it's more, in some ways it's kind of cool. You get to make it what you want. But like you're saying, Jamie, like just knowing it's an option and knowing that that can be a beautiful thing to access and to create for yourself. I think that was like my excitement in having this conversation, because like I think life feels very disorienting for a lot of people right now and always. And the invitation to slow down and name that it all is kind of nuts out there, and you know, what do you need and who's around you. I just feel like that's such a powerful invitation for people to consider what they might already be doing that they don't even think of as that. Like even, you know, I have I maybe used to call them habits or whatever, but like the idea of instead calling them, then I transitioned to calling them practices, and I still like that. But the idea of now sort of in tandem also calling them like rituals, it just brings more weight to them instead of like self-care habits that get me through the day. It's like, even if there's technically the same activities, it's like, they're not just activities. Like these like have a really genuine, like sacred as in spiritually sacred and like, and from head to sacrum and down, like purpose. And they are not optional if I want to live my life in a way that feels correct, you know? And that can happen outside of, I mean, if someone finds a religion that feels good and they want to do it inside the religion, I think we all kind of have language for that. But the idea of doing that, even if that's not for you, is very exciting to me.
It's like it's human nature.
That's right.
It's within our capacity. It doesn't belong to anyone. That's just the thing. It's sacred. It's like our presence and our attention and our intention is what we are. It's what we are. It's what we are.
Yeah, that is like, this is something that, you know, Ty, who, for lack of a better way to put it, now his like industry, and maybe I'll say his art and his industry now is cacao. And there's, you know, emerging awareness around this, like this substance, this medicine that is cacao, and all of the, you know, positive health benefits, but also like the particular way in which it interacts with your energetic field, and how just it's such a profound plant medicine for heart opening. And it's incredibly ancient. And he was in conversation, well, I guess he wasn't directly in conversation. He heard this secondhand from his mentor, in his cacao mentor, who was in conversation with contact of theirs in Honduras, who is like who they work with directly there. And anyway, long story short, that this Honduran man was essentially kind of like laughing at this concept of like ceremonial cacao, and like how you need to have like specific ceremony around. He's like, the ceremony is engaging with it with intention. That is what makes it ritual cacao, is essentially you are drinking it on. That's as deep as the ancient wisdom goes. Like there weren't actually like special circles around like, and maybe, and here's the thing, like maybe there was, but the idea that like we now as modern people think we have to get like the bells and whistles and the form of it correct is actually, if we're trying to nail the form, we're really missing the essence. And the essence of ritual and ceremony is exactly what Mouse just said. It's like the intention you are bringing to just the moment you're having in the fundamental human experience as it is unfolding.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, it just feels so simple. It just feels fundamentally, extraordinarily simple.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like a way of like taking your life seriously. Like, you know, like, I just think it's like, oh, I enjoy my cup of coffee every morning. Or are you engaging in an intentional ceremonial ritual with you and
you get to pick
your plant medicine, which, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
you get to
pick.
you get to
How you
decide
describe
if
that.
it has that much meaning for you. And then your life is a life that that holds that much meaning. And then your life is a life that like expands to the size and shape and quality, even like shores up with that degree of like so much purpose. This is something that I've thought about a lot, you know, being someone whose personal path was like being raised in a religious context and then deconstructing, quote unquote, that. And that's my personal experience. Then also like the majority of my career has been like relating with other people who have had that personal experience for the last like 10 years. And the ways in which like, I don't know, there's such a deep human suffering occurring when those of us who are raised to like somatically, we were raised in a way where we were like organized around like meaning making through like gathering and ritual and ceremony. And then when we understandably and on some level, like correctly and generatively decide like the specific ideological beliefs are like no longer serving us and no longer feel good to us and are no longer making us well in the world, we exit that and we like eject from that structure. And then we lose touch with the truth of what Mass is saying, the truth, which is that it doesn't belong to anyone. Nobody has, you know, a monopoly on ritual, meaning making, ceremony. But in the initial phase of deconstruction, my theory, we don't need to get into this now, but one of my theories is like, this is why so many people get super fucking sick when they first leave evangelical Christianity. Like the Venn diagram of people who deconstruct and then like develop a chronic illness in their body is practically a circle. And there's a lot of things going on there from a somatic standpoint, but I believe that one of the things that deserves to be acknowledged of what our bodies are experiencing is like, oh my God, where did my ceremony just go? Where did my meaning just go? Where did my fundamental innate part of being a human, where did my containment just go? Where did my village just go? Where did my where did my orientation just go? Like that disappears. And I think like if we were to frame this in like the overarching hero's journey, like maybe that's a quote unquote dark night of the soul that everyone needs to like feel and experience so you can figure out how you want to return to that in a way that is authentic to you. But I have seen in the course of my career, a lot of people get stuck there without knowing that they're stuck there because they think that's just what life feels like now. And that's just something that evangelical people do, or that's just something that people that live over there and worship that way. I don't do that, so that's not for me. And that is, I'm so serious. It's literally making them physically sick. And it can be very difficult. It was very difficult for me to allow myself to come back into like a self-permission, again, just rooted in like, I am a human being, I'm a human animal, and this is fundamental to the human animal that I am. I get to participate in this. It was very difficult for me to like sift through, you know, what the baby in the bathwater metaphor of like to figure out what I wanted to keep, what I get to keep, and what I did not want to bring back. I see that a lot.
That makes so much sense to me, and that's pretty wild that you know, in the line of work that you can see that and you have experienced that and you can, that makes so much fucking sense to me.
Yeah.
So I'm mindful of time. I feel like I definitely could talk for 50 billion more hours. And that's actually probably not a good idea. For the body would say stop at some point. I was thinking an interesting sort of final question would be like, so Mouse, like say folks are listening and they haven't really thought of the role of ceremony and ritual in their life up until this point. And, you know, so when you're encountering people in your community or people who are reaching out to you and they're kind of at the novice, curious, you know, what do you find are sort of helpful? I don't know if it'd be words of advice or like what do you often find is helpful to say to them as they're curious about how the ideas and practices of that you're inviting them to consider, like the impact that could have, maybe? Yeah, like what do you usually say to them? Put it that way.
So, I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways to approach. One of the ways that I came across ritual was through grief ritual. And so I'm not even going to hesitate to say that within the framework of a lineage, this is a lineage that carries this particular grief ritual that I participated in. That ritual in and of itself performed magnitudes of transformation that enabled me to catalyze a generative relationship with my grief. So, I mean, I would say that we are so entrenched in grief. We are so entrenched in inherited cultural grief, ecological, environmental, political, gender, it just goes on and on and on. And so I would really encourage folks to begin by researching grief in context of ritual and ceremony. And not just in terms of like a one-on-one therapeutic, isolated sort of insular or secular way, but there are people in the world who are holding ceremonial spaces who come from certain lineages, and some are more emergent, and there is the issue of cultural appropriation, and we can see people taking over spiritual spaces, but really I think there's also a lot of folks who are in integrity, who are really in integrity and really just wanting to bring forward spaces for honoring. I offer one-on-one consultation for folks, and so people can book a discovery call with me or an online session, and we can discuss like what makes sense, like how either I can help to facilitate a process, or we can work together to collaborate to empower you to then turn toward your life and what you're going through to create ceremony that's going to establish containment for you and or maybe within your partnership, whatever it is. But I would really it's scary, it's antithetical. It's so antithetical to our culture.
Yes.
And yet it is the antidote to disconnection. So I would say like whatever is inspiring you, whatever that has come forward in this conversation that is like, oh, like maybe you're thinking about a transition that you went through previously in your life where you didn't have the holding or the containment, or maybe you're experiencing something right now like the transition from maiden to mother, or the transition from mother to the children are moving out. Or maybe the transition that's happening for the children as they watch their mother differentiate and they're not ready for that. Or changing profession or the injury or whatever it is. Transitions are hard.
Transitions are hard, and they would really benefit from some containment.
They would really benefit from some containment because we fall apart in those places, because we are in those processes of metamorphosis, because our ground is shifting, because everything is shifting and we don't know who we are, we don't know who we were, we don't know who we're becoming. And so it requires tending. It just does. And it's not our job to keep it together. It's our job to fucking fall apart and to create, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Oh, yes, I know what you mean. Yes, I do. I think
we
I
must
decompose.
And the more that we keep it together, the more pain and the more fucking suffering that we experience.
What a perfect setup for this transitional moment for you of like, it literally like didn't even occur to me until you said that, like the perfect answer to that question you just asked, Joan, is like, book a call with Mouse. because it really is. Yeah, totally. The timing was not our idea.
Exactly. May 1st.
Yep. Oh yeah. This will be out a few weeks after that, maybe early June, something like that. So
nice.
Yeah, I mean, that is the question, right? Joan is like, where do we begin? That's why I grabbed her by the shoulders and was like, we need you. We need you doing this, because none of us, we all are waking up. We're all waking up to how badly we need this, and none of us know where to start. And so we need the people who, we talked about this last night in the refuge of like, I talked about village and eldership and, you know, waking up from cultural codependency, all of that. And what I essentially kind of like landed that talk on, those of us who are waking up to, you know, what it's going to require of us to really, you know, to have village, you have to become a villager. And this is something like Mouse and I have talked about too, of like, you know, we want to start working with this and teaching this as we walk this path. But we are becoming the future elders of this because we're waking up to it now. We're hearing the invitation now, and we're willing to walk the path now.
Right.
And that is exactly, that's who Mouse is when it comes to ritual and ceremony and this type of containment and you know, and human tending, just like just tending to ourselves and each other in the complexity of the human experience. And so what a perfect place to begin is in speaking with someone like her. And also like, what a perfect way to for the web to do its work and for us to all hold each other, that if people do have curiosities about how to like strengthen this skill within themselves, like to how to like strengthen this muscle within themselves, as Mouse enacts this incredibly courageous transition out of the thing that has been her income for 17 years and steps into this unknown territory. This is how we hold each other. This is how we hold each other in village, is like, this is like I talked about a few weeks ago, that like that model that I'm moving towards of like village medicine women. Like, what does that mean for how we share resourcing amongst each other? Someone has knowledge, someone has skill, someone has ability. How do I come to you and resource you so that you can share that knowledge, skill, and ability with me in my direction, so that then I can tend to myself and my community. So I just see this like beautiful ripple effect with that. And it makes me very excited about this timing that we literally didn't even plan.
It's just someone planned it for us. Thank you.
You know what?
Yes.
You know what I want to say about you, Jamie, is that like you are an initiator for me. I feel initiated through you, by you, through your invitations over and over and over again. So thank you for seeing this in me and inviting me into this space to bring this into the world so that I can shine in my gift. You know? Thank you so much.
I do know. You're so welcome. I feel it's the easiest and most pleasurable thing in the world to just like see you and tell who I see in you back to you. It is like, it's so easy and it's so enjoyable. And I experienced the same thing from you. Like I feel like there was so much waiting. There was so much that was waiting in me until I met you. And I experienced an initiation from you in this way of like, just the permission to totally tell the truth with my body. Like, it's funny because we didn't know each other. It's weird to say this way. We didn't know each other before we met each other. Duh, obviously. So the versions of ourselves that we have become by way of our relationship with each other, we have minimal context, minimal to no context for like whoever the fuck we were before we started initiating each other. So it's just, it's such incredible magic. And I can't fucking wait to buy a house with you. I cannot wait to live with you.
Let's go.
It's going to be the best.
That's so cool.
But thank you for saying that. It's like my deepest honor. And I plan to do it for the rest of my life. I mean, if I get to have that honor, one of the things that came through very clearly in my mushroom journey a few days ago was just this like overwhelming need. It was like I literally had to, as I was coming out, I had to have Ty like hand me my phone because I was like, I have to text Mouse and just say, I am with you all the way to the end. Like, I was like, I just have to say it. I need it to be known. So yeah, I am, dude. I am.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Well, how would people find you?
Yes.
Oh, let's do that. How
Yes.
would people find you? What's your fancy new website, Mousebird?
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, write this down. Get ready to write this down. Or not. The notes or whatever you had to know. My new business name is Gaia Mara Temple. And my website is gaiamaratemple.love. And
Can you spell that?
yeah, Gaia Mara, Gaia Mara, one word, temple, temple. And so you can go on my website. It's actually live.
Woo.
Woo!
Yeah, it is. It's gorgeous. Oh my God.
And you may see breasts.
Hello.
And
Let's go.
just a warning, for folks, but Gaia Mara Temple is really inviting us all to embody, to in fact ritually, ceremonially embody our pleasure, our dream, our authenticity, our letting the truth be told, the authenticity. And so, yeah, everything is an offering to create a space of honor to acknowledge what is through embodiment and through different processes of embodiment.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
I immediately have to go look at this website.
Yeah. She's a dream tender as well. So that's a whole thing among her various offerings included in teaching, guiding about ritual and ceremony, dream work as well. God damn.
Cool.
I've learned everything I know so far about dreams and tending my relationship with my dreams. I've learned from this woman. So that too.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think two more pieces to the ritual at the end of this podcast. Speaking of ritual, one is that we usually sort of name what we think our second conversation is going to be on our Substack. For those that, are honoring and supporting the podcast financially. I know for me, I just have like a buttload to say about like ceremony and lack of ceremony in the healthcare space, and thinking about that. So I'm like, blah, blah, blah. So I could just like say that.
I have a vision, by the way. After Mouse taught in the refuge, and Joan, you were like, holy shit, I feel such a resonance with this person. I got a vision for this thing. I wrote it down of like the three of us creating some sort of workshop of sorts. That's kind of a bummer word for it, but a workshop around this, exactly what you just said. So just put a pin in that.
Beautiful.
So, might start ideating on that behind the paywall. Did you have any thoughts or what was bubbling up for you, Jamie?
Oh, I was just all here like a golden retriever. So I was not thinking about a future moment else, but that sounds great. That sounds good. Let's talk about that. I would love to hear you talk about that and would love to bounce around.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. And then, Mouse, before we say thank you and goodbye to you, we end each podcast by having one of us dedicate our time together to an element of our body. It can be like an organ or a part or an idea. So which part of your body do you want to dedicate this time to?
I love that. I would love to dedicate this to... I don't even know exactly what you call it, Joan. Maybe you know what this is, or Jamie, you know what this is, but it's a diaphragmatic sphincter. How the esophageal moves through the diaphragm and then into that lower cavity through the diaphragm, whatever that is, how that goes through the diaphragm there. Yeah.
Yeah. Say more.
Please,
Why?
I really want to know
Tell
why.
me
If you wish to share, I'm like,
tell me everything.
cool.
Just it's like, I have been burping a lot for a while. And so when my spine in this whole spinal journey of like sitting more in my throne and less leaning forward and efforting through the toil of my body, like my breath, I'm receiving nourishment and I'm exhaling waste. I'm receiving nourishment and I'm exhaling waste. And my diaphragm is such a muscle of connection and breathing. But through my gastrointestinal tract, I'm receiving food and it's beginning it's turning into waste as it enters into that place, right? And so it's this really transitionary space also between above and below, and the diaphragm is also this lateral plane, but all the other fibers are going straight through. It's like the center diaphragm. And so I just want to give a lot of love there, a lot of dilation, just opening, softening, opening the channel to surrender.
I'm obsessed with that answer.
Gorgeous.
Let the metabolism, let the metabolism.
Yeah.
Yes.
Origin of hiccups often.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's the intersection. Not all, but like often that's the intersection where the irritation, then the diaphragm's like, "Ah!" So
Yeah, spasming. Yeah.
thank you so much, Mouse. This has just been so nourishing. I just love the way you speak. I just really love how you think. And
It's been fun to watch
great.
Joan's face, just like whenever Mouse is like preaching, when she's like really on one. Joan is like, what?
I
the fuck?
feel
It's
like
fun.
I'm like bathing in it. Like I really is just.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Oh,
It's
good.
I'm just, that's what I said. I'm just like the golden retriever. I'm just like in the middle of this,
eating
just like
popcorn.
enjoying my two friends, like, eating each other up like candy. I'm having the time of my
I love
life.
it so much. I love it so much. But I love that we're birthday sisters.
Yes.
And I love that we're not even north or south of each other, that we're side by side,
We discovered
Yes.
on the map. We're
Yes.
like, wait, I think it's either I'm south of you guys, even though you're American, I'm Canada, or we're actually the same latitude.
Latitude.
Yes.
Cute.
Yeah.
Fun.
I didn't even know that. That's so sweet. I love it.
So different after all.
It's true.
Borders, an illusion. Okay, well, with that, I guess we can call this podcast to a close. I feel like being more ceremonial. I want to ring a bell or something now.
I know.
'Cause
I know.
actually,
Mouse, you have some
usually-
objects on hand.
We have difficulty, or I find we are often a little like, how do we start? And especially at the end, we're like, okay, bye. And like literally that's usually what we do, and then we just turn off.
Yeah.
But I'm like, wait, is this a moment to create a little something?
Yeah, like a ceremonially ending.
Yeah.
Would you like to bring us to a close, Mouse?
I would love to bring us to a close. Yeah, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm just going to close my eyes. You can close your eyes if you want to. Just invite us to take a breath, or, always take a breath. Always going to invite you to take a breath. And just let your body, just invite you to let your body, whatever that means. And I think just offer a word of gratitude for what just happened in the conversation, what is present here, and bringing the gratitude forward. And so for me, gratitude lies in the connection that I feel. Connection. You know what? Connection. Gratitude for connection.
I feel, it rhymes. That was not on purpose, but I feel The word that came through for me was gratitude for perfection.
Yeah, for me, it's like gratitude for the fact that we're never finished. I don't have the singular word for that, but that we're always changing and growing and iterating, and just gratitude for that.
Yeah, the continuation, the evolution.
Yes. Yeah.
And that being the thing that feels so perfect to me. Like that feels like the perfection, like the definition of that perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, with that,
Thank you.
goodbye.
Thank you, Mouse.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Mouse. Thank you, everyone. Come join us over on Substack where Joan and I will keep this conversation going.
Yeah.
So see you guys there.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
This is Experiential Anatomy. Thanks for listening. I'm Joan Chan.
And I'm Jamie Lee Finch. Experiential Anatomy is co-hosted and created by us.
Amber Wyndham is the editor. Julia Wyndham is the supervising producer.
Senior producer is Elizabeth Wyndham.
Our theme music is Park Pier 3 by G's Guy.
If you have any thoughts, questions, or stories to share about this week's episode, email us at exanatomy@gmail.com.
Please follow, rate, and review on your favorite podcast platform. And remember to join us over at exanatomy.substack.com.
Experiential Anatomy is produced by Windhaven Productions. Where'd she go?
Started to continue it on a new track because they changed their device.
What?
Weird.
Did our computer die?
Yeah, I'm right here.
I don't know.
Weird. What just happened?
Please hold. It's like she's here, but she's not.
I know. Spooky.
It is spooky.
Yeah.
A ghost.
Oh, she just tried to call me.
Hello?
Okay.
Hey, are you right there?
Oh.
I just heard her. What happened?
Is that you?
Please leave your.
Oh, that's her. Oh, that's her voicemail thing.
Try again.
It's funny. I texted her, "Where'd you go?" But she called me and said, "Where'd you go?" in a voicemail.
Oh, so then she thinks she's still in it, but she's not.
Are you there? Wait, what?
Oh no, that's me saying that to her. That's so weird.
Hello?
Okay.
Wait.
Hello.
Hello.
Is that you?
Oh my gosh. That's so creepy.
I think that means she can still hear us.
I can see you
I
guys.
can see you guys,
You can see
I
us?
can hear you.
and I can hear you.
Weird.
Gosh, she just had a ghost experience.